Has anyone had a paranormal experience in the woods of Southwest Oregon? Posted by u/Gretzchich. I hope this isn't too vague a question, and please allow me to add some context. A couple years ago, I did bicycle tour from Eugene, Oregon to Lagunitas, California, just north of San Francisco. To save money, I typically would drag my rig into the woods of a nearby national forest and do dispersed camping for free. I was on a shoestring budget, to say the least. If you know the basic geography of that part of Oregon, you know I had to bike west from Eugene, through the coastal range, and meet the Pacific coast, which I would then follow to my final destination. However, once I reached the coast, in order to keep finding free camping, I would inevitably have to venture inland, into the woods most nights, sometimes as far as 15 miles. Now, I've spent a significant amount of time outdoors in remote areas out west and in the upper Midwest, where I was raised. I'm familiar with the sometimes eerie silence the woods can take on when you're truly in the middle of nowhere, or the heightened vigilance that setting brings on. However, I had never before felt an oppressive, dark, dreadful energy in my environment like I did alone in the woods of Southwest Oregon. The feeling of wrongness was a common occurrence when I stopped somewhere to evaluate a campsite. I often felt a strong sense of claustrophobia in those woods and often felt that I was not alone. A strong feeling of paranoia became a nightly feature on that leg of the trip, and my sleep schedule suffered considerably. Keep in mind, I was stone cold sober on this tour. Somehow, I powered on and I never saw any sort of creature or entity, but I still can't shake the feeling that there's something evil in those forests. Once again, I emphasize that I am well traveled in the US, experienced in the outdoors, and have never once felt that way anywhere else I have been. TLDR, the woods of Southwest Oregon inexplicably freaked me the fuck out. Anyone had an experience in this part of the country? Are there any urban legends unique to that area? Google doesn't reveal too much. Edit. Wow, this got a lot more responses than I anticipated. Thanks for everyone's input. A purchase gone missing. Posted by u/ZXSpectrumFK10. Last year, my wife and I moved into our new home. We were both so excited for many reasons, but also to decorate our new blank canvas. As such, we frequented many furniture shops and places like IKEA, etc. We went to a lovely little place about an hour's drive in Scotland called House of Brewer. We saw so many lovely things there, bought many items. One such item that we saw but never purchased was a cutting board by a particular artist. My wife was instantly fascinated. So we got home, and still excited, we were on the iPad looking at more stuff and managed to search for the artist of the cutting board. She had many different types of merchandise, from coasters to wall art. So, we decided to order a pack of coasters from Amazon. Along with it, I wanted a teaspoon rest. It was a specific arty one with a sketch of a cartoon-style cat. Anyway, the coasters and the teaspoon rest arrived and I recall receiving them and taking them upstairs to show my wife in the front room. We were painting. I unpacked them all and we commented on how much we loved them. That night, my in-laws came to visit and commented on how lovely the house was coming along. I showed them the new arty coasters as I knew theirs loved them, which they did. A few days later, we couldn't locate the coasters or the teaspoon rest. We ripped the house apart. Which wasn't hard as it was fairly bare due to us still decorating. But I didn't want to leave anything to chance, so even searched all the moving boxes, etc. But after 2 days of searching we gave up. Even my mother-in-law confirmed that we showed her the coasters but can't recall where we put them afterward. We decided to get on with the house and hopefully they will turn up. A few days later, the doorbell rings and it's Amazon delivery. With our new coasters and teaspoon rest. I immediately went on to my Amazon app to check the orders and it only confirmed delivery this morning. No record of the previous delivery. I'm not shy to the weird goings on of the human psyche, but this is a new one on me. Surely it couldn't have been a shared delusion? Or folie à deux? It still bugs me to this day. Never stay up around 3 a.m. Posted by u/CatBeetle. When I was in high school I was always up past my bedtime to be on the internet. I don't remember what I would always do, but I'm sure I was probably reading manga or on Skype with friends. My lights would stay off and I would be in the dark except the light from my laptop. I never had a problem with it and I was scared that if I left the lights on my parents would see it and I would get in trouble for staying up late. One night I was up late. I remember it was around 3 a.m. because I had school the next day and because I would stay up all the time I wouldn't get sleepy till 4. During my late night internet browsing, I sat on my bed with my laptop just enjoying the Skype chat with my friends. I heard a scratching on my closet door that got my attention. I didn't think much of it the first time and ignored it as I continued to chat with my friends. After the scratching continued, it was my dog. She is a small black Pomeranian mix and would sometimes get stuck in my closet if I forget to check and make sure she isn't in there. I decide to get up now, worried I locked her in there by accident. I get up and turn the light on. I have a fear of closets, mostly open ones. So before I open a closet I always make sure to turn a light on. Even if my parents would get upset, I can explain I was only letting the dog out. So I open the wooden closet door, but I see nothing. I look on the floor and see nothing but dirty laundry I had a bad habit of just throwing into my closet. I was confused but again didn't think much. That maybe I imagined it. So I close the doors to the closet, turn the lights off and hop back on my bed. I let my friends on Skype know what's going on and they joke it's a ghost. I deny that and reassure them it's only my imagination. But the scratching began again. I grow worried and stare at the doors. I get up again, turn the lights on and open the doors again. Nothing. Now I was paranoid. I grab my clothes from the floor and start to search for my dog but couldn't find anything. I give up and close the door again. And as soon as I close the door, the scratching continues but this time louder. I get scared and run back to my bed, leaving the lights on. I hold my laptop close to me and stare at the closet while the scratching grows louder and louder. As if an animal with large claws was begging to get out. I didn't know what to do, so I just sat and stared at the closet door as the noise continued. I wanted to run but I was frozen and covered in sweat. I don't remember how, but I eventually fell asleep. When I woke up the sound was gone, but I couldn't sleep in that room for a while. I didn't tell my parents in fear that I might get in trouble for being up late, but I never heard that sound again and I never stay up past 2 a.m. unless I keep my lights on. Remembering a past life? So, I'm sitting at the table with my son, 7, and he looks at me and asks, "Hey mom, how many BBs would it take to kill someone?" I'm a bit taken aback, because my son is truly an epitome of sweetness. He even has problems squishing bugs because he feels bad. So I look at him and reply, "Well, I'm not really sure. Why are you asking something like that?" He looks at his corn dog and says, "Well mom, when I was in the war the man in charge told me I was too nice. He kept hurting kids, and when he told me to hurt somebody I said no and he told me I was too nice. So I wanted to know how many times I would have to use my BB gun to kill him if he came here to hurt my family." I just stared at him. He looked up at me and tried to reassure me with, "Don't worry mom, I know I can only use my gun with a grown-up." Then went back to eating his corn dog like nothing happened. The Starring Lady, Okinawa, Japan, posted by u/Nico Rin. I originally posted this story in the comments section of another person's experience story. Was told to post it separately, so here it is. I apologize for my lack of storytelling and written skills. I'm half Japanese, female, living in Japan and work as a translator interpreter. A few years ago, I got hired for an awesome project, as an interpreter for a producer and an award-winning director for a movie that was to be filmed in Okinawa. The movie didn't come through, because there weren't enough sponsors. Anyway, we got flown to Okinawa and I was excited on so many accounts, plus it's my first time to Okinawa. Everything was amazing, the friendly warm Okinawan people, the food, the weather and the beautiful beaches, until we reached the resort hotel. 3 key team members including myself were on the same floor. Our rooms were side by side. I remember as I walked up to my room door, I felt like something was off. I knocked firmly 3 times on the door, something I was always told to do by my father who has traveled around the world for work, and as I opened the door to the room, about 6 feet away I saw an apparition of a lady standing there looking at me. Well, shit. But I had no choice. I'm here for work. She looked like a Japanese lady in her 20s-30s, with long dark hair. It was neat. She was wearing a long light-colored, bluish-white dress with some sort of a faint floral print, as if it had faded with time. She also looked darkish overall, energy-wise, if that makes sense. Like there's a slight darkish gray mist surrounded her. I stood at the entrance and spoke politely in Japanese, "Hello, excuse me. I am not here to disturb your peace or your space. I am here just for 3 days for work, and I will leave after that. Thank you for understanding." I bowed deeply before entering. It seems like she understood me and mostly left me alone, although she barely leaves the spot she was standing at and just watches me whenever I am in the room. Each time I have to enter or leave the room or have to go to the kitchenette, toilet/bath areas, I would have to walk by her. My best friend was in between jobs then, and whenever I was back in the hotel room, she would spend the entire time on the phone with me so that I was less afraid, since being on the phone means I'm distracted from the lady, who was always looking at me. I could feel her watching me even as I showered. So I had to have my best friend on the speakerphone while I showered. The kitchenette area near where she usually stands is also always colder than the rest of the room even though the air conditioning isn't there. It seems like she understood me and mostly left me alone, although she barely leaves the spot she was standing at and just watches me whenever I am in the room. Each time I have to enter or leave the room or have to go to the kitchenette, toilet/bath areas, I would have to walk by her. My best friend was in between jobs then, and whenever I was back in the hotel room, she would spend the entire time on the phone with me so that I was less afraid, since being on the phone means I'm distracted from the lady, who was always looking at me. I could feel her watching me even as I showered. So I had to have my best friend on the speakerphone while I showered. The kitchenette area near where she usually stands is also always colder than the rest of the room even though the air conditioning isn't there.
Thanks for watching. Please do like, share, comment and subscribe for more videos.